the saints. Today we are here with another business call-in show. You can call in, talk about your entrepreneurial ideas, talk about things that you are working on. You can talk about personal finance, wealth building, all of those questions. And sometimes you might have to talk about relationships because so often people forget that your bond with a woman has a little bit of money in between the two of you now, doesn't it? In fact, I hear that many relationships end due to money. Oh, it's a pity, but it is real life. This is one of my favorite shows because if you can get things right in establishing your financial foundation, then you have an opportunity to be able to sit down, relax for a moment, enjoy some leisure. And we all know that life is not about working, though you should love working. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Let me update the banner here at the bottom. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, may I encourage you all to instead watch on twitch.tv, for YouTube is a censorship corporation, which stops you from getting the truth. It is trying to control you. Google believes it is 1984. So many things to talk about with regards to business. I want to talk a little bit about relationships, if you don't mind. And when we're talking about business, we don't often enough think of relationships and how they work over time. When I was young in my career in the tech business, I was doing a lot of traveling. I eventually had offices in South Korea, and I was trying to get one in China right before that pandemic occurred. So I was all over the map. And I never stuck with one airline. I remember my assistant would say when she's booking flights, she'd say, hey, what's your Delta number? What's your United number? I'll say, I don't have one. Just book it. Use an aggregator. And then she said, you should really try to stick with one airline as much as you fly. You should have free flights. You should be flying first class. I didn't think much of it. Took me maybe about 8 years to figure out the importance of what she was saying. When you build that relationship with the airline, you have skin in the game, and then you get benefits from it, which is to say the same is true in other areas of business. But more importantly, you build trust, you build predictability, and you have favor, which allows you to have advantage. In business, one of the most important things to seek is advantage. You never want to play the game fairly. You always want advantage. When you look at major corporations, especially when they're operating in the third world environment, they're getting advantage. They're operating and not paying any taxes. They're getting land grants. They're getting all of these things that give them advantage over, say, doing business in a developed country or in a Western country. So anyways, I say that to say the following to you. Firstly, someone says instructions to call in. To call in, all you have to do is to call in with your question or comment. You send in your $20 via PayPal or Venmo, or you can use the Stripe or Bitcoin information in the description. And then we'll give you the link to hop on and you can ask your question or questions. And we'll go back and forth, or you can just send it in via text, however you like. And welcome, David. I trust you are new to this podcast. Be curious to hear how you found it. Anyways, so I want to talk about relationships. And the reason I'm going to talk about relationships is particularly so that it'll benefit you in the long term. We're talking about financial relationships with institutions, with banks, with payment processors. And I'll tell you how that's going to interview you. Now, how that's going to benefit you. Number one, you should understand that I utterly despise the concept of business credit. I despise people asking me about business credit because this is something that's going to hurt you. It's never going to benefit you. You do not run businesses on credit. You do not run, I'm going to say that again, you do not run businesses on credit. And generally speaking, I'd say real estate is one of the few businesses where debt is a core aspect of the business. It's usually not as dangerous. There's an underlying asset that is mutually agreed upon as valuable by a number of parties, you, the bank, the appraiser, and others. Whereas the business that you think you have, the product line, the inventory that you have, you might believe it's valuable, but the market might not believe it's valuable presently or in the future. And as a result, when you take out business credit or debt, you're taking out debt at a high interest rate, and it's very risky debt because you don't have an underlying asset. You might have things that are worth some amount of money, but not quite assets, and they're certainly not appreciating, generally speaking. And most importantly, what people don't know when they're trying to establish or take out business credit is that it's really not business credit. It's personally guaranteed most of the time, which is to say that typically when you get business credit, you are going to have to sign that if the debt is not paid by the business, the LLC, the corporation, then that debt will fall to you as an individual on your personal Social Security number, your personal credit score. You will be liable legally and financially. And so you're basically just setting yourself up to be in a bad position. I can assure you, if your business and your idea was really that good, then you could get other individuals to get on board with you as opposed to a creditor. Because the fact of the matter is that the creditors don't believe in you, generally speaking, and they shouldn't, because most businesses are going to fail. That doesn't mean don't do a business. That probably means do a number of businesses, not simultaneously, but one after the other until you strike gold. That's what that means. Now, I want to talk to you about business relationships because over time, it allows you to get real business credit. What I mean by real business credit is that the credit is not personally guaranteed by you. And generally, you're going to get real business credit by operating in the marketplace by having sales, which is to say revenue. And the key to business credit is A, knowing where to get it, and then B, knowing how to establish it, and C, knowing how to use it. Number one, where do you get it? So typically people are going to think, oh, a bank. You go to Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Chase, some traditional bank, and then you open up a business account and then you do business, and then they're going to offer you a business loan. Well, maybe, but they move slowly. I highly recommend against trying to get credit from these traditional older banks because they're not so good at leveraging data and identifying which clients are worthy quick enough for it to be beneficial to you. You deal with a Chase or a Wells Fargo or Bank of America, these traditional banks, they're going to wait until you have $500,000 cash sitting untouched for a significant amount of time before they start to offer you any meaningful leverage or debt. Whereas if you're wise enough to do this in the modern way and to look at some of the more cutting edge payment processors, namely you look at Stripe, you even look at Shopify, and even PayPal, they will be taking a more strategic look at your transactions and the capital that you're holding in their account. And they'll be able to better assess more quickly, using a richer offering of data, because they can see all of your transactions. They can also map it onto a lot of other data points that apparently banks don't have or they don't know how to use. And through that, they can make you an offer much more quickly. And that's really what you're looking for if you have a need for capital. But one golden rule I'll let you guys know about capital is that capital is like that. Capital is like a beautiful woman in some ways. Never doing the most expected thing. It's not direct. It appears unpredictable. There's like a dark magic that you have to understand to enchant it, which is to say, when you want capital, it doesn't want you. When you want capital, when you need capital, it doesn't want you. It doesn't need you. But rather, when you don't want capital, when you don't need capital, like a beautiful woman, then it's interested in you. It's taking a second look at you. The money is seeking you now. The money is seeking you. So this goes directly against what you've heard before, which is, what you seek is seeking you. Not quite. Because the reason that capital, which is to say money, loans, banks, the reason that you do not find you're getting an offer of capital when you want it is because your bank account balance is low. That's when you want capital, when your bank account balance is low, when you need it. That indicates a low bank account balance indicates that you are either not running a profitable business, or you have not been exercising good financial principles, or that you are in great lack. So if they were to give you money, it would be eaten up very quickly for basic operations as opposed to expansion. And capital wants to grow. Capital is all about expansion. So if a bank or any entity is going to give you money, they expect that they can give you $1 and you can turn it to $1.25. You can turn it to $1.30. You can grow it. You're not using it for survival, which is why you'll never get a loan. You'll never even get considered for a loan when you actually need it. Conversely, if you have $500,000+ sitting in a bank account, then yeah, the bank is going to reach out to you. If you have 6 figures, even low 6 figures sitting in an account with Stripe or PayPal or any of these other more well-known, newer, high-tech payment processors, they're going to offer you money. And that's good news for you. Then you can use it for growth. And you know what the funny thing is that when they do it in that way, you might not like it, but it's actually beneficial to both of you. They're helping you not hang yourself. They're helping you not suffer from your own delusions. Anyways, let's go ahead, take a moment, take a pause for the cause. As I always tell you guys, show love to those who show love to you. These are the most important live sessions by far, but they'll never be the best attended because people say they want to grow financially. They don't want to put in the work. I acknowledge Mr. Naeem. He writes, peace of the saints, master the morning, you master the day. Who better to kick off the day with than the big homie? Less work. Oh, absolutely. I appreciate it. Yes, indeed. And that reminds me, yesterday I did a review of the topics of Boss University. And just to give you guys a guide on what topics you should study if you would like to become well off. And there was one particular lesson that I decided to dig into right after we got off of the call. And ironically, as I went through that lesson, which was a phenomenal lesson, very insightful, definitely all of the knowledge is worth re-studying, re-examining. There was a young man who took a consultation earlier that day, very successful young man. I'm very proud of him. Kids making like 50, 60K per month, doing really well. He's a 20-year-old kid. I shouldn't say kid, man, 20-year-old young man. And there was one lesson I came across in Boss University, and I'd asked him, I said, did you take Boss University? Because when he was describing some of the challenges he's experiencing in his personal relationship, and often finances bleed into your personal relationships, I said, did you do Boss University? He's like, yeah. And I read the exact direction that he should have followed, which is to say, Boss University is curated good knowledge. If you bought Boss University, review it regularly and apply it. There's nothing in there that is included that is a maybe. Everything that's included is 100% factual, highly useful. Those are rules. Those are not guidelines. Those are laws. They will benefit you greatly. And when you violate them, you will suffer, whether you suffer financially or personally. So, be a good manager of the things you choose to deal in, whether it's business, women, or otherwise. Capital comes in various forms: your energy, your money, your emotions. You need to be thoughtful about all of them. I remind you guys, either do it or don't do it. If you're not going to do something at a high level, don't do it. For example, if a woman invites me out to go bowling, I say, no, thank you. I don't want to bowl. I'll go out with you, but we have to do something else. Why? You can't bowl? I could bowl, but I cannot bowl at a high level. I could probably beat you in bowling and most of the people in there because I have great coordination. I'm very athletic and I'm patient and I'm a careful person, detail oriented, but I don't want to become great at bowling. So I don't even want to practice it. It's a waste of my time. Which is to say, be serious men. Be serious about the things that you choose to do. Be serious about the people you choose to deal with. Shout out to Patrick, comes in by PayPal. He writes, give me that link, please. I got you. It'd be good if you include your email address next time, my good man, but I do in fact have your email address, so I'll kick it over. So this is the link for the folks who want to come on and have a brief conversation about product. Got the link right here. Maybe I don't have his email address. Hey, Patrick, if you'd be kind enough to just send me an email and I'll reply with the link. Thank you. And the email address that you can use below is the PayPal email address. While he's doing that, shout out to Calvin. He writes, Peace of the Saints. For the young men who are earning well, what is your general advice on accounting and how to manage money? Well, there's two considerations when we talk about managing money. There's managing money personally, your personal finances, and then there's the money of the business. And one of the challenges of every entrepreneur, especially when you're first getting started, is making sure that there's a clear separation of the monies of the business and your personal dollars. That's number one, make sure they're clearly separated. Number two, for your personal finances, you should certainly have a plan, a budget, and also some goals. One thing that you can access if you go to thesasson.com, THESASN.com, click products, there's a lesson that I give on personal finance, and I describe two different budgetary allocations. One is when you're on your way up, and then the second allocation, which is to say you're going to reshuffle things and allocate at different percentages for different areas of life. The second allocation is for when you're more established. And also when you're looking at that lesson, I talk about why the budgets look different, why the allocations are not the same. And for my young guys and gals who don't have children, which is to say you don't have a meaningful responsibility, if you live in the West, failing really at worst case scenario might land you on your mom's couch or your friend's basement. You really should be hyper aggressive to accumulate capital. And I talk about that in that lesson. So that's number one. Separate the monies of business and personal. Make sure you're running on using a budget and have specific wealth goal on your personal side. On the business side, only spend money on that which gives you money, which is to say, don't invest money into a business that's not making money. And remember that there are certain expenses that are irrelevant until the business is turning a profit. Expenses like, protecting intellectual property. You don't have intellectual property if your business is not very successful and profitable. Expenses like, doing certain incorporations and, all of these, all of that stuff. It's just not necessary because your business might crash and burn and you don't want to invest thousands of dollars on silly things. It's also not useful to have a significant social media presence unless that's a part of your sales funnel. And mostly it's not. And one thing I can assure you, no matter what business you're in, not all of the social media platforms are going to apply to what you do. I think that if you were, for example, selling educational products, TikTok would be an utter waste of time because most of the people on there are young, brainless females, youngsters who are both illiquid and mentally incompetent. And so if you're selling educational products, it's not going to be helpful. Now, if you're selling makeup tutorials, you'll have a great many clowns on there who would absolutely love something like that. So being thoughtful about platform, being thoughtful about separation of finances, getting education on budget allocation. And then once your company starts making money, then you should most definitely hire a tax strategist that is close to you. And I mean that in terms of physical proximity, where you can go into their office and sit down with them. They have an office. These are people who could save you tremendous amounts of money. These are also people who could easily steal from you. You should have a good sense of them. They should have excellent references. They should be just a car drive away at most. And as a result, they should understand all of the local, municipal, state, and federal regulations and advantages that impact your business. And shout out to the youngsters earning well. Keep it up. May I acknowledge, and also when you go through Boss University, if you're a youngster earning well, there's one lesson called Money and Happiness. Go through that today, please, and pay attention to that, especially the last couple sentences in that lesson. Who do we have here? Wayne writes, can I join in? Okay, and he was wise enough to give me his email address. So the answer is absolutely. Let me go ahead and kick over this email to you. So I'm going to send this email to both of you guys at the same time. I'll just BCC you, gentlemen. And then you'll have that link, and I'll see you shortly. Fantastic. And I absolutely really enjoy these conversations about specific businesses because then we can really get into the different kinds of thinkings that might apply in different verticals. And also, I want you guys to take note of how discouraging I am and encouraging, but mostly discouraging, which is to say at the start of a business, you have an opportunity to avoid all of the pitfalls, avoid losing your money, avoid the emotional pain that comes with doing the wrong thing repeatedly, thinking you're going to earn. So my goal at the beginning is to be as discouraging as possible until you find the right thing to pursue. And then we're going to flip to being encouraging. We're going to get into strategy. We're going to push forward. So if you are a mature adult, you'll know that it doesn't really, it should not affect you emotionally, someone being critical of your business or your business idea, because it may be a great help to you. So you should always be a hearer. Also, for those of you who are members, you can also join in as well. And I'll drop the link in the Discord just to make that easy for you guys. So I'll do that right now. Very good. Okay, let's see what we got here. And by the way, to the two gentlemen, the link is sent out. Shout out to Andre. He writes, showing love and support to someone that has never let me down. Peace to the saints. I appreciate that. And shout out to Andre Rosa. He's an entrepreneur. He has a phenomenal black luxury chest bag, which I do myself own. Very high quality leather. You can get it at mdblabel.com. Look, the gentlemen are taking a little bit of time to join on, so I'm going to go ahead and get back after it. Oh, yeah. So anyways, what I was saying is when you use Stripe as your payment processor, you use PayPal, and over time, and also them seeing you having a number of transactions. And also if you leave your money in the account without withdrawing it to your bank account or spending it using a PayPal associated balance card, then that's going to cause them to offer you some money, which is exactly what you want. And they'll offer you an amount of money that obviously has some kind of anchor to what you're doing in sales and revenue. So say you're running a business that's pulling in $500,000 per annum and you're letting $250,000 sit in your bank account. They'll turn around and offer you $1.5 million. They'll offer you $2 million. And that's going to be to your great advantage. And it's going to help you scale. It's going to help you increase sales, increase marketing. Wayne, what's on your mind?
Yeah, go on. I recently started my business, right? And
Okay.
I quitted my job. So
Okay, I'm just going to make sure I understand. You're saying that you recently started your business and you already quit your job.
well, yeah, I had the business while I was doing the job, but when I
Okay.
quit, I got a store space, not a store front. It's inside a building. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but the main issue I am getting is two things: capital and I think I'm interrupting the business, being that money goes to me. I don't know how to separate the money from each other. And the capital part, I have a retailing business. I sell phones and computers, and I do contracting for um, the government of Guyana.
Mm-hmm.
And the government, the contracting, I have to put my money up front. And when the item reaches to them, they take a week and I get my payment. So I have to put down my money and make the other business struggle.
Okay. So a couple things.
There.
Number one, generally you're going to thrive when your thinking is sharp, and usually that's going to be better expressed through writing. So get all your thoughts together in your head, write them out, and then reshuffle the list, make it more concise and clear. Hey, this is point one, point two, point three. And that'll make it easier to manage, because when you write the problem down, you can make them discrete and more manageable. So that's number one. And when you've done that, when you communicate to other people, it'll be very sharp. It'll be very sharp. I can tell that
Yeah.
you took out the time to write out your game plan or your map of challenges. So number one,
My bad. My bad.
no, that's okay. Number one, I want everyone to know generally when you're stepping from 9 to 5 into entrepreneurship, you want to step out of your job at the very last minute when you absolutely have to. So you should already be making money in your business. You should be leveraging your 9 to 5 to record or to save up capital, to maintain your health insurance and all of the things that would benefit you if there ever was a challenge or if your business stagnated or failed to grow. And I, in fact, encourage people to hold on to your 9 to 5 until you're damn near about to get fired. I don't know about Guyana, probably different, but in the States, if you get fired, you can get unemployment insurance. And I, in fact, encourage people to hold on till you get fired and then collect the unemployment insurance because it'll benefit you as you work your entrepreneurial gig because it'll give you what we call runway, which is what you want. So that's number one. Don't quit your job till you have to, till you get fired, until you're working so hard on your side thing, your side business during your work hours that they fire you. And what does that job matter anyways? That's not what you want for your life, obviously. That's number one. Then number two, if you have a business that is making money in a demonstrable way, doing something that is repeatable and predictable, if you talk to a rational person who has capital and you're an authentic, believable person, you're trustworthy, then you can clearly show them, hey, if you give me $1, let me show you the process whereby $1 becomes $1.6 or what have you. That's that. Now, you mentioned having trouble mixing up the money. Well, it's just a simple matter of accounting, which is to say that any money you put from your savings into a business is a capital investment from you, and it should be earmarked as such. Or it could be considered a loan from you to the business. And so there are different ways, and obviously different countries have various ways of considering these things. So you should, of course, talk to an accountant if this is something that you believe is regulated and would cause you problems. The best thing to do is keep it very simple, very separate, simple, and have great accounting, generally agreed upon accounting principles. And usually the accountant will help you with that, or a bookkeeper. And the reason that's great is because when you want to sell the business, when you want to get investment in the business, your books are very clean and neat and easy to explain and understand, and that'll help you bring in the capital. So it's as simple as starting with a spreadsheet when you're early on. Now, with regards to you saying that you're contracting with the Guyanese government, which should be increasingly wealthy. I know that there was natural resources discovered that should make the country fabulously wealthy. That being the case, yeah, absolutely. That being the case, you got liquidity and you're dealing with a partner that should be reasonably predictable. So always, number one, you shouldn't take things as assumptions, which is to say, if you have a challenge with the government, and governments are like really the worst to work with in terms of negotiation because they're slow and bureaucratic, you still try to renegotiate, hey, how can I get you to float this, or how can I get you to loan me this, or how can I reduce the number of days it takes for you to pay me? How can we do X, Y, and Z? So in business, never take anything as an assumption. Always take it as negotiable. It's not like you're walking into Walmart or a corner store and there's a set price. There's not a set price. Nothing is set. So I try to renegotiate that to your favor. Secondly, if capital, like for example, say you put up the $1 because you're saying you have to spend money on things, to deal with the government, and then you get your money back within, did you say about a week?
Yeah, once it's delivered, a week.
Yeah, that's very.
Things take normally.
Go ahead.
My bad. Normally I have to ship things from eBay and Amazon, so everything comes from Miami, and it takes 2 weeks to reach in Guyana. So it's the 2 weeks. When I deliver, it's 3 weeks. My money is down.
So you're saying from the time you take $1 out of your bank account, it takes about 3 weeks for you to get the dollar back plus whatever the profit is.
Yeah, and
that's heck.
The bad thing about it is that I have 20 pending contracts right now, and as I'm done with one, I have to go to the other, and the other, and the other. So there's no money for me to put into the other businesses. I had to borrow a loan to bring back the phone business, and my car broke down the other day. I sold it, and I brought back the computer business with that.
Hmm. Okay, so those are two separate businesses.
In a sense, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean, yes or no? Are they separate or
yes,
are
yeah,
they not separate? So,
yeah, it's
number
separate.
one, if you're saying in a sense, then that's already problematic because it seems as though you might be mixing funds between the two. And the fact of the matter is that if one of the businesses is paying you and the other one is not paying you, then you should figure out which horse is going to win the race and you should hop on that horse and ride it as best you can. Pause. So, firstly, if I were you, I'd ask myself, which of these businesses has the highest profit margin and the largest accessible market? Which of these businesses is more future oriented? Which one do I really want to actually be in? Now, generally speaking, I avoid B2B and I avoid B2G businesses. I don't really like them. But if you already have an inroads with government and you're doing B2G, those are potentially very profitable and the competition on those deals is generally very low. So if I were you and those B2G deals are very high ticket, I would be really highly invested in those deals in particular as a primary. But which of these businesses is paying you more?
Well, the government, it has more profit in it. The phones have less profit, and it takes a while to sell. But I started mainly as selling phones, so I invested about um $3,000 in advertisement US, and I started like that. So I don't know. It's hard to me to let go of the phone business. It still makes profit on
Which
the
business?
computers.
Okay, let's do something very simple. And I think one of the challenges that you're having is simplifying. And once you simplify, if you can simplify something, it lets the other person know that you really understand. If things are not simple, the person doesn't understand very well, which is to say that a neuroscientist can explain a phenomena in their industry to a layman if they really, really understand it. So, for example, give me a short story on how you make $1 in the phone business. And I'll give you an example on how to make it simple. I live in Guyana. We don't have any iPhones here. I buy iPhones from Miami. It costs $100 each phone and $50 to ship it. My total cost in is $150. I resell the phone in Guyana for $250. My profit is $100 on each phone. My initial investment was $150. The time it took for me to get paid was 3 weeks. That's how I make money in that business. Okay, now tell me.
All right, so I order it from eBay, and the seller ships it to Miami, um, Miami to Guyana. The price for it to be shipped is $2.50, and the phone cost might be around $500. So we say 500, and normally I would sell it back for let's see, 700 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
$700. Let's say $700.
Okay. So what are
Yeah,
you
and
netting about $200 in
and
profit?
yeah,
Okay. And in
the
terms of
market is
optimizing,
crazy.
you said the market is crazy. Okay. And in terms
Yeah,
of
everything
optimizing,
is. Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
I think it's just a delay on the internet connection. I'll yield the floor to you, please.
Oh yeah, the market is unregulated over here, so all the prices are sky high.
Very good. It's a true
Mm.
market then. And when you say the prices are sky high, you're saying like the price of an iPhone 17 is sky high. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, once it's reached over here, the government has no control of the market of anything. So prices in Guyana for commodities are based on how somebody feels.
Okay, very good. And How long does it typically take you to sell one of these phones?
Well, 2 to 3 weeks.
Like once you have the phone available, it'll take 2 to 3 weeks to find the buyer.
Yeah, yeah,
Got it. Okay. So I'm just going to repeat to you what I believe I understand of your business. You order a phone on eBay in the United States market because presumably they're not sold and shipped directly into Guyana. You have a contact of yours from Miami mail the
yeah,
phone into Guyana, which probably is getting by some legal regulations that you're not supposed to get by. And then you resell the phone, which takes about 3 weeks to find a buyer for that phone. Is that correct?
yeah.
Okay, neat. So I just want to repeat some of the challenges or regulations that create your business. So it is not possible for eBay to send that phone directly from the United States seller to you in Guyana.
The shipping cost is gonna be too high.
Okay, and then how are you saving on the shipping cost from Miami to Guyana?
Well, it has established freight forwarders in Miami, and they they just ship it down
Okay,
with a plane.
understood. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you list the phone after you acquire the phone, or do you have the phone listed before you acquire it?
When it arrives, we list it.
Okay.
So after.
Right. And it takes, according to you, approximately 3 weeks to find the buyer.
Yeah, but at the same time, remember it has phones before that, so it's not like it's delaying the business.
Can you say that last sentence?
Oh well, it's not like since the phone sells in 3 weeks, right?
Yes.
Remember, it has another set of old phones, so it's not really delaying the business in any way.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're saying there are older pieces of inventory that are being sent out and being purchased.
yeah,
So it's an ongoing thing. And then you're
yeah,
making approximately $200 per unit.
yeah.
Okay, great. So what's the problem in this business?
Well, nothing. It was my business was growing very good
Mm-hmm.
earlier this year from January to April. It was growing very good. It was making upwards of 10 to 15,000 a month,
In profit?
and yeah, in profit.
Okay.
And ever since the contracts came by, I'm now figuring out how to bid. I'm I'm figuring out how to set my prices and so on. So I took some hits early in the business because I didn't know the shipping prices of certain things and the taxes that I would have got
With regards to the
attacked with.
phones.
Well, no, no. Sorry about that. So from January to it was April, I wasn't doing any contracting. The government started to use me in early May, right?
Okay. Do you see how you kind of went from one topic to the other topic without making a clear transition?
Yeah, I have a
Yes. Okay. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to actually write this down because you don't have this written down. So here's my piece of advice and homework for you. In general, when things are important, they're worth writing down in your
yeah,
personal life and certainly in your business life. And if you're running a proper business, you're running a system. And a system will have multiple persons, collaborators, etc. And so you want to write down these things, even if you just put it on a PowerPoint presentation and you figure out what are the threats to your business, what are the things that drive profitability and all that good stuff. So my advice to you is to write down both of these things, and as a result, you'll be able to communicate a lot more clearly because you would have made these things all discrete points. And then the last thing is to stop mixing in the businesses. I could tell just by how you're discussing it that these two things are not separated enough.
yeah.
Wayne, we've talked before, and I remember talking to you, and I congratulate you on your continued success. And so I look forward to talking again.
Uh,
Absolutely. Peace of the Saints. Mr. Chapman, talk to me.
Peace to the saints.
Peace of the Saints, looking sharp there.
I appreciate you. You know how we do.
Absolutely.
All right, my man. So I just have a couple of quick questions for you, and very specific questions, and then I have a more broad question to pick your brain about. So
Roger that.
first, I want to say I see why you say to get out of clothing.
Right. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, I totally understand. My product obviously has a good use and it's a functional thing.
Yes,
But sizing and different people's body types and things of that nature,
that's right.
they come into play a lot more than one might expect. So
And
I
real
want to
quick for
acknowledge
everyone
it.
listening, if you're wondering where did he get that from, if you go to school.com, skool.com/Marquett, Marquett, and you click classrooms, there's a little course called How to Create a Product-Based Business with $500 or Less. And one of the things referenced in there, a little bit of free game for you, is stay out of the clothing business. And it explains why. But it also gives you 9 other businesses that you should absolutely stay out of. It's just not worth it. Carry on. Talk to us.
All right. So first question, pretty straightforward. When do you consider restocking an item? Do you base it off percentages? Obviously, I don't expect that you're gonna sell out completely. What is your thought process around that?
Excellent. So I really look at the time to arrive, the time for arrival of the product. So, for example, if you're shipping a small product, like say a USB C cord, which is very lightweight, and therefore you can probably send a whole bunch of these via DHL Express, and you can get them in like a plastic mailer. They don't have to go on to freight. In other words, these can come fresh from China in a matter of a week or 10 days, very quickly. So if that was the case, I would kind of wait until I'm closer to being on E. If it's a heavier product, like say, I can't even show you too many products. Here we go. Like this microphone, which has some significant weight. So if I wanted to ship 100 of these, the only financially viable way to ship them is through freight, sea freight, right? Which is to say they have to go into a container and it's going to take several months for them to arrive. So then I would basically make a calculation to figure out how many of these items am I selling per month, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, how many am I selling per month? How long does it take them to arrive? It takes, say, 2 months for them to arrive. If I'm selling, 50 of them per month and I only have 100 of them left, then I know I need to order now. That's a simple calculation. If you're talking about your clothing product, which is light in weight, I'm assuming you're not using sea freight. And in as much as that's the case, you can order a little closer to last minute. But what I'm really thinking about more than anything is how good is this product? Do I have good product market fit? If I have good product market fit and I believe that I can continue selling this item, there's really no downside to ordering the item in advance because I know it's going to sell out. It's the items where they're not selling well, they're not selling in a predictable way. You haven't defined the trend. You cannot identify how many you sell per month because the first month you got them, you sold 100. The second month you got them, you sold 18. The third month you had them, you sold 12. And you're not sure which way it's trending. That's where you have problems. But if you have a product with good product market fit, then it's not so much an issue. But the key is this: never be without product. The worst thing in the world is to have sales and not have product on hand. So I would for sure prioritize ordering early as opposed to later.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Spot on as far as what I was looking for. That kind of bleeds into my next question too, because when I do reorder, I need to make a change, as I'm sure you know what I mean. I need to make a slight change to the product as well. And I'm curious as to what you suggest or what you've done as far as how long you test the sample and in what ways do you test the sample. I also think about, I was using a product last time I was at the plantation and we were talking about sampling and different ways to make sure that the product is
Right.
viable. You know what I'm referring
Yes.
to.
Yes, sir.
So
That
It
young
makes me
man is
think.
actually on. I'm gonna bring him on shortly. And I respect that you're not speaking on that in particular. Very wise. I'm gonna bring that young man on shortly. But yeah, absolutely, good question, and I'll answer it now. Brandon writes, "Do we have to send a super chat to hop on live?" The Google Corporation is a censorship corporation which has demonetized me for speaking the truth, so you cannot send a super chat. You can, however, use Venmo or PayPal below, and we'll bring you on. Or if you're a member, I dropped the link in our Discord, so you can use that for our members. You know, we show love to those who show love to us, of course. Anyways, to answer your question, when you say how long, how much should you test a product? This is a very important question. I'm glad you asked me this because the answer is actually not intuitive. You see, there's so many different product types, and what you have to consider most often as a business person is the money. It's business. It's about money. So what you're asking yourself is this, you know, how do I make money? How do I lose money? You make money by sales. You lose money by expenditure. You lose money by returns and refunds. So how do I make sales without making returns and refunds? And how do I make sales in ways that are going to give me referrals? It's going to give me clients, which is to say repeat customers. And so I asked myself, if I have this product here, which in my home, I have something like this in every single room. These are disinfectant wipes, if you're curious as to what I'm holding. And I say, okay, well, I want to test this out so that I can bring this to market. Well, would I go through the whole damn batch? It's 75 wipes. No, I wouldn't go through the whole batch. I'd ask myself, how can I accelerate testing out all of the things that matter to the consumer? What are the possible problems that the consumer could encounter with this particular product? There's some specific notes that I give in the course that I mentioned, how to create your own product-based business with $500 or less. You guys can reference those. What's not there, just talking directly about this one, is, well, if there's 75 sheets, I'm kind of curious as to what's the difference between the first sheet, the middle sheet, and the last sheet. Like, is there any difference? Is the first one super moist and juicy and it's going to have too much, disinfectant spray on it? Is the last one going to be dry? Is the middle one just right? I don't know. So I wouldn't take out the actual time in my life to wait until I've gone through 75 of these damn sheets. I would take one of these sheets and spend a whole day wiping down various surfaces until I ran through all of the sheets. I'd look at the nature of the first sheet. I'd say there's 75. So what's half of that? It's about 36, right? 37. So when I get to sheet 36, 37, I try to, make some notes on what's going on with that sheet. And then when I get to the very last sheet, is this sheet dry? Is this sheet also moist? I'd make notes on that. And I'd, consider the mechanism. One of the things I particularly don't like with this one is when you first open these, the sheet's not ready to go. I think the color balance, let's see if we can.
Yeah, I know what you mean with those.
Yeah, the sheet is not ready to go. So you got to actually reach in, pull it up, and then kind of snag it in the top like that. And now it's ready to go. And theoretically, after that you rip them, they should all be in the right place, which actually doesn't happen, which is why I don't use this brand. I use another brand that already has it ready to go, and I just pull, and it works perfectly. So those are the kind of things that I'm thinking about. I'm also, of course, looking at the appearance. As I said, I have one of these in every room. I don't use this brand, actually. Someone else bought this brand. This is not one I would buy because I find it to be ugly, and they're in all of my rooms. And so I like something that's more aesthetically pleasing. So that's how I would test out something like this, is I would go through the whole damn thing in one go, and I'd use it on different surfaces to try to figure out, is this going to take the color off of certain surfaces, so that when I'm making notes on the back for the consumer use cases, I'm saying, hey, do not use this on X, Y, and Z fabrics or X, Y, and Z surfaces or X, Y, and Z colors. And then we'd be done with it and I'd get it ordered. There are other things that you cannot do like that. For example, I produce an athletic shoe. You can go to sasnbrand.com, sasnbrand.com. In fact, I'm going to do a giveaway on an athletic shoe for my members when I do my next Kick live stream. That running shoe, you can't properly test it in one day like this. What did I do? I put a month's worth of miles on that damn thing. And then I looked at the bottom. I observed the feel of them, and I said, okay, this is a good shoe. We can go to market with it. Because one thing I know is that the shoe has to last a certain amount of time. We know certain products fail and certain products are consumables, right? This is a consumable. Once we've taken all of the towels out, it's done. We're going to toss it, discard it. All this plastic has no value. It's a consumable. That's fine. We accept that. Shoes are also a consumable, but we don't expect it to be consumed too quickly. So if you wear the shoes and they fall apart in 1 week, then you're like, oh, hell nah. You run in the shoes and they fall apart in a month, you're kind of like, ah. So you have to figure out how much juice it's going to give you that will not cause the customer to complain, because the customer knows the shoes are going to fail. They just have to fail within reasonable time. And so I try to simulate those things that are going to give reasonable time. Me personally, being that I run every single day, I know that if I test out a shoe for 1 month, that's like a normal person having the shoe for 1 year, because I run that more than them. So it's a perfect test.
Beautiful. I appreciate that. I wrote a lot of that down. That's exactly what I was looking for. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you a more broad question about goal setting.
Okay.
So I recently set a fairly large wealth goal for myself.
Congratulations.
And thank you. Now I'm 2% there as of right now.
All right, there we go.
All right,
that is large.
so I'm aiming high.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, how do I organize my mindset, my actions to get from 2 to 100% as quickly as possible?
Excellent question. So number one, it's like when you're on a long run. When I'm on a long run, especially if I'm tired, I don't look forward. I don't look ahead. I actually just look down, like at my feet, at the ground, because looking forward to where I have to get to is just too daunting. Like, I can't deal with that psychologically at a certain level. And so I just look down at the ground and like that one step, that two step, and then I focus on form, which is to say, if you're running in the most proper form, you're being physically efficient, you're moving the fastest you possibly can. So I'm focusing on my body and what I'm currently doing, the actions, as opposed to the outcome, the goals, where I'm going, which is to say, once you define your goal, and I talk about this in Boston University, like how long out the goal should be and all this stuff. But once you've defined the goal, and there's literally a lesson in Boston University called Define Your Wealth Sprint. So once you've done that, then you hyper focus on the correct activities that add up to that. And you find the satisfaction not in the goal achievement, but in the execution of the activities, will keep you happier while you're on the pursuit to your goal. And so number one, Mr. Chapman, is identifying the correct activities. Most people don't know what the correct activities are. They start a new business. They're like, oh yeah, and I bought this domain. I got all of the social media handles, and I just got my name copyright protected. I'm like, none of those things make money. None of those things make sales. This is a total waste of time. So identifying the correct activities and then figuring out, well, if I do this, this, and this, and it adds up to $1.25, and I need to get to $500, how do I scale to be able to do this process at least 300 times? And once I figure out how to scale up the number of times, like the frequency of repeating the transaction, then I ask myself, how do I do the transaction faster? How do I get faster to the outcome? Just like I was asking the last young man, I said, well, it takes 3 weeks to sell the phone. Are you not listing the phone till you receive the phone? Well, if you know what the demand is and it takes 3 weeks to sell, then you should probably be listing the phone 2 weeks early before you've even acquired it, right? So that you can accelerate things. And so figure out the correct activities, figure out how to scale them, which is to say to repeat them at low cost, and then figure out how to do them faster. Very simple. I mean, it's very simple. The only problem is that it requires a lot of work and craftiness in terms of organizing the labor and technology to execute those processes. But the most difficult part is figuring out what are the processes and then double down and then say, damn, okay, it's hustle mania. I know what to do. Now I just have to do it a lot.
Mr. Burton, gold as always.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. I'll take no more of your time, my friend. I really appreciate everything you do. And the only thing I want to leave with saying is, for all y'all watching, join the Assassin. This Fresh out the drip trip.
You dig.
We do this out here.
You dig. Looking great as usual. Peace to the Saints.
I appreciate you. Peace to the Saints.
Patrick, talk to me. You're on mute. And while he's doing that, yes, Jas, you're asking if the channel's been shadow banned. It's absolutely been shadow banned by the Google Corporation. Not even 1% of my 250,000 subscriber following gets my notifications. And so that is why you're seeing this. And so we are in a fight against government control, a fight against the technocrats as well. And that is why we're transitioning over to Twitch. And so I'm encouraging everyone to go to Twitch, because Twitch, as of now, will actually send out the notifications. And there's the Twitch information at the bottom. Patrick, talk to me.
How you doing, big homie? So
I'm well. How are you?
Good, thank you. So my first question is, what are the core things I need to hyper focus on to make sales?
Good question. So number one, I would ask you, based on your existing experience, because experience can be a great teacher. You have a product that is certainly useful. Have you made more sales in person or online?
No, sir. Not since I left, So no, sir.
You've not made any sale, or just in the whole history of your product?
Yes,
have you
sir.
made more sales online or in person?
In person.
Great. So you need to double down on that which is working. So if you find like, okay, wow, if I'm selling boxing headgear and I walk into a boxing gym and I've made sales before, now I just need to figure out, have I saturated this market? Meaning, if I came into the boxing gym at 8 a.m., 2 weeks ago, and I made some sales, what if I come at 5 p.m.? Probably a different group of guys, because people are not professional boxers. They're operating around their work schedule. So you're going to get a different group of people at different times of day. We already know that you've been able to convert in person. Then I'd say, okay, well, wherever I've converted previously, I need to figure out if I could show up back to that place or places like that. And, sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when I say I've made sales, it's only been to the Saints. So I don't even really count those sales, because I'm trying to sell to people I don't know.
Absolutely. So then you should also ask yourself, what do these things have in common? So if you're saying the market you've addressed so far is the SaaS, and by the way, shout out to the Saints, as I say, this thing of ours is a real thing. We support each other. Then you should say, okay, well, this is a group of people with a common interest. What other groups of people with a common interest who are supportive am I a part of? Am I a part of a church? Am I a part of the Boys and Girls Club? Am I a part of a running team? And if I'm not a part of those, do I have friends and family members who are a part of similar organizations, maybe martial organizations, maybe the Boy Scouts, what have you? And how can I get the introduction to sell this product, to present this product? So that's number two. And then number three is, have you gone to a couple boxing gyms and checked if you could sell it to the boxing gym itself and also to patrons within the gym?
Yes, sir. I've made a lot of phone calls I called a bunch of boxing gyms, and most gyms declined me, say no. But one gym said I can come up there and go sell on Saturday when they have open sparring events. He says a lot of people come in, they don't have headgear. He said I can come in and sell.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
That's a gem. That's really a gem, because what he taught us is that, well, there's two things. Number one, the phone call is good. And I would actually just use the phone call to make sure it's a real gym that's actually in operation. And then I would just show up. That's number one, because let's say you called the gym and said, hey, can I come sell in your gym, or can I sell to you? And he said, yes. Then it was almost a waste, because I'd rather be there. And then he says yes. And I'm like, okay, well, here it is. So that's number one. Then number two, the gem that the other guy dropped on, I remember in my business when I had this epiphany, and I was talking to a potential customer, and he said something I'd never thought of that changed my whole business, and it really skyrocketed us. This guy said, when we have sparring events or sparring days, people don't have their headgear and they need it. That's a captive situation. That's like buying food in a theme park or buying food in an airplane. You don't have any other options really, and you have high levels of need. That's perfect. So if I were you, I'd say, okay, let me find 10 boxing gyms, and then I'm going to call them. Hey, when's sparring day? Oh, you guys spar every Thursday at 5 p.m.? Roger that. I'm showing up with the headgear on deck. Oh, hey, you're about to get in there, bro? Bro, $40, man. Don't wear that sweaty headgear. You gonna put on that headgear after somebody else just had it? That's disgusting. Here, get right. So that's the magic bullet that he just told you when the need is highest. And so I would try to apply that to different gyms. I think that's your magic bullet right there, honestly.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, my second question is, I think because of these girls and the extreme things I'd say on Instagram was the reason I got banned. The accounts I've tried to make prior to this. So basically what happened, because I can't really read my handwriting. So basically my account got banned. My main account got banned, and I was trying to, I was having some real emotion. I think I was probably about to start getting some sales, and then that account got banned, and then another account I made got banned, and now this account that I'm on right now, it hasn't got banned, but Instagram is limiting my marketing abilities. Like, they don't let me send messages. Every time I try to send a message, it'll ban me for 3 days. So the question is, what social media platforms are best, like after Instagram and TikTok,
for selling your product?
Yes, sir.
So the first thing you should do is figure out who your early adopter is. And I talk about this both in Boston University and also in the course entitled How to Create a Product-Based Business with $500 or Less. So figure out who your early adopter is. And in both of those offerings, it gives you damn near a worksheet on how to figure out who your early adopter is. Once you figure out who your early adopter is, you can actually type a fairly simple query into Google itself or any other engine, be it AI or otherwise. And hey, which platform is this person in the demographic markers most likely to be on? And then I go to that platform and sell there. But I honestly don't think that you need to try that before you've exhausted the first thing that we just discussed. And the key is simplicity and oneness. Simplicity and oneness. Can I find one excellent channel that works really well and then basically burn it out? And then when that's burned out, then I'll find the next one. But until I've maximized on that fully, there's not even a necessity to try to figure out the online thing, because you're going to be running paid ad units and the conversion rate is going to be a lot lower. I have the feeling that if you go in a boxing gym on sparring day and there's 30 people who need to spar and there's 8 people who need headgear, you can probably convert like half of them. That's pretty good. And you're going to get your money ASAP with no credit card fees, and you don't have to ship the product, so you don't have to take the trip to the post office. So simplicity and oneness. Work the best option until it stops working.
Yes, sir.
And the gentleman said he can't find the Twitch link. Do my eyes deceive me? Is the Twitch link not right there at the bottom? Twitch.com/Marquett Devon.
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Am I tweaking?
Yes, sir, it is. Twitch.com. Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Yeah, all right. That young man in the live chat is tweaking. It's okay, though. People be tweaking. What else you got for me?
All right. And so this another question is, okay, so I consider this to be my first real month of being an entrepreneur, since I've been extremely aggressive in trying to make sales. I've given myself until January to sell 60% of my product until it's time to start something new. I know the reason you stopped allowing people to sell on the Assassin is because they're quitting too soon. How long do you think I should give it before I start a new business?
That's a great question. And it's not always because your product's not a good product. It could be because demand is not growing in your vertical. It could be because the competition is too damn good. It could be because a lot of things. I think in your case, sticking to one strategy is very important, because you're trying to train your mind for entrepreneurship. And just the discussion that we're having here about, like simultaneously trying two things, when you have one strategy that sounds really effective, I think that it wouldn't be a good use of your time to go into another product anytime soon, because you haven't mastered the kind of thinking and strategy to make this one work. Because theoretically, your product is priced lower than the competition, and it's not any less effective. So you should be able to sell it. And that particular product, and if you guys are wondering what's his product is a boxing headgear with a bar over the face to protect your nose. Thank you. Excellent. And that's a great product because for those of you who box, and I know myself for a long time, I didn't use the nose bar because when you compete, even in the amateurs, you're not allowed to have that. So I would always box without it. But I noticed I got a lot of scar tissue on my nose, and it's just not worth it. It's not smart. And so I've been using that one for the last couple of years. It's a great product. So I say that to say this. Product's good, and those kind of headgear are very expensive. So yours is significantly lower on the market. So the question is, well, why isn't it selling? Well, I think it's just because of your sales strategy. So I'd encourage you to invest more time and get better at selling, better at marketing, and then when you feel like you hit a wall, then change products, because it might be the product. So what I'm saying is, it's not the product, it's you right now. You don't have enough information to know if it's the product right now, and the information indicates that it's you, which is good, because you have product and you have you. Product you cannot change. They're already made. You can improve. So improve your strategy and get the product sold.
Okay, thank you very much. So yesterday I went to the USPS. I'm doing something called influencer marketing. So I went to the USPS. And some lady, she was telling me about click and ship and a printer and poly mailers. Yeah. Listen, boss. When I go there, I'm shipping it off like this, and I'm just putting a little tag on there. And she's saying, "Oh, well, I don't want it to get stolen. And what if you go viral and people want to, and the people can like open it up so easily?" Is that something I need to be spending money on, like poly mailers and printers and all this stuff? Because
I understand. So I think the only thing that you should be taking heed of that she said is the poly mailer is not transparent, so you can't see what's in there. Most cases, I don't think people are stealing boxing headgear, to be honest with you. I don't think most people are going to be doing any level of combat sport. However, I think it is just a better look to make sure that that bag is not see-through. And so I think that that's a reasonable investment to get the poly mailer that she's referring to, which basically doesn't allow people to see the contents of the package.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So just a couple of things I'm about to get off quickly. So I want to thank you for the Huel, the breakfast, letting me sleep in your home, and the work. You gave me some work to do. I appreciate that. And I also apologize for getting to take out that trash.
Don't worry about it. Think nothing of it. I appreciate you. You are very welcome.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. One more thing. I sent the super chat again a couple of days ago, and you told me that your wealth was going down. And I'm not cash liquid yet. So I'm just, what can I do to help you increase your wealth?
I appreciate that. That's very considerate of you. You know what I'll do is, as I have some items come available, I'll make sure I post them on the community tab, and do step up. And anyone who would like to put in some work, do step up. Right now, I'm restructuring a lot of things on the business and financial side. And so one of the things you'll find in business, especially as the business leader, is that in the early stage of something, it's actually hard for people to help you because you don't know what you're doing, which is to say you don't have refined systems and you don't have predictable processes to plug people in and say, hey, do these set of tasks that are going to lead up to this predictable outcome. And so right now we're doing a lot of business restructuring. And so I appreciate that. And there definitely will be work to do. So I look forward to that. And all of you guys who are skilled professionals, I appreciate all of your labor, whether it's volunteer or paid, and I always make every effort to hire people that are within this thing of ours. In fact, I just messaged Aaron, who I hope sees my message, because I got some electrical work, paid electrical work for him to do. And so always trying to take care of our own. And I thank you for that, Patrick.
All right. Shout out to you. Shout out to Chris as well. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Sass in Los Angeles. Peace of the Saints.
Peace of the Saints.
Okay, very good. Let's see what we have here. By the way, I'm going to have to check the stock market soon. I saw that I had a trade execute, and I always make my limit orders fairly aggressive. So one particular security has dropped significantly in value. I'm going to take a look at that in a little bit. Oh, yeah. And by the way, shout out to the folks who have supported our training center, which we're going to be talking about later on today. So myself and Jude, we're going to be on a live session. We're going to be talking about the grand plans for that. Is very exciting. We got Saints Weekend coming up. I'm excited for that. And I'm excited for the training center because it allows us to do things at scale. You know, Saints Weekend is at my personal home. And so I invite all of you guys to come, but we can't accept everyone. And so we often have to try to make it expensive just to basically discourage people. And also because it's my house. We don't want strangers, right? But the training center is something that will allow us to expand our educational efforts and our support efforts. And we highly encourage you guys to join us tonight as we talk through our plans and everything. It'll be a great thing. You will appreciate it, I promise you. Anyways, may I acknowledge, shout out to Caleb, writes, tuition, peace to the saints. Caleb's always with us. I appreciate you. Shout out to Andre, writes, 100 more units on the way. Life is good. Things will work out, gentlemen. There you go. And that's aggressive. Bro said, I got 100 of them things coming. And check him out. He makes a great product. I actually use it quite a bit. It's a black leather chest bag. You can get it at mdblabel.com. Shout out to Nick. He writes, tuition, Sasson, or nothing. Thank you for always giving back. Anything you need, I got you. Peace of saints. And shout out to Nick. He's a real one. You know, a lot of people say anything you need, and it's really not like that. Nick has always shown love. Shout out to Josiah as well. Always been there for me. Appreciate you guys. Vernell. Shout out to Vernell. He has Assassin deodorant. I actually just ordered some this morning. So as I say, show love to those who show love to you. I'd much rather have that Assassin deodorant, you dig, than whatever else these strangers are making. And so I'm about to pay Vernell right now. Awesome. So yes, I just ordered some more Assassin deodorant. That's the only deodorant that I use. Nothing else will do, you dig? And those are beautiful products, which is to sell staples. And also it's a good opportunity in as much as I think Vernell's not going to be doing another batch. So one of you who might want to take that over, I'll release the opportunity to the members once he's closer to selling out his stock. Shout out to Mr. Naeem. He writes, the ones saying they, quote, love these live streams, end quote, just want to watch without giving any support, free or otherwise. The great news about these live streams is that they'll be reserved for us, the supporters, to be watched, rewatched, and analyzed. Peace to the saints in a real way. And shout out to Mr. Naeem. Yeah, you know, it's a funny thing about humankind, especially men, is just no one wants to be used, but people will definitely use you if you let them. It's just an unfortunate thing. Very unfortunate thing. You know, and people lie. Like one thing you'll notice is that people lie so much. The truth is not in most people. They'll say just outrageously untrue things like, oh man, I'll support when I can. You know, there's some people, they only send $1. It's just showing up saying, hey, I'm here. And I respect it. Shout out to Dominic. And most importantly, strategically, I would do that in as much as I'd want to get my name out there. Like, for example, a young man had reached out to me today on Instagram DM. Now, mostly I can't answer my Instagram DMs and I don't try to. But a young man had reached out and he said, hey, I'm a carpenter and I do X, Y, and Z. You know, I know at Burton Plantation you have construction going and I'd love to support that effort. I said, okay, fantastic. I always seek to hire people that I'm familiar with, that I know. I was like, you know, are you a member? No. Have you been to an event? No. Okay. Well, what's your name? Okay. Never heard of it. What's your screen name? What's your username? Okay. Never heard of it. Well, yeah, like you're basically a stranger to me, just like anyone else on Google. So I'd rather just look up someone with high Google reviews than deal with you. Whereas if you were, say, a strategic person, you had sent in like $1 every live stream for like 8 months, which would probably only cost you like $30, then I'd at least have familiarity with your name as opposed to you being a complete stranger. And then you could turn around and make yourself a buck. But people don't know how to strategically invest in themselves. You see, there's a level of selfishness that you can execute strategically to where you're really doing it for yourself. People don't even know how to be intelligently selfish. But that's the world we live in, and that's why we kick in this game. Shout out to Dominic. He writes, thank you for this lecture. I need to be critical with my business so I can reach a high level. Peace of saints. Oh, absolutely. And Dominic, you know, the funny thing about a guy like you is that you have such a strong work ethic. You're such a producer that when you figure out the correct methodologies, you're gonna go yay. Oh, the money is going to be like coming in oceans because you work hard. You hear me? Like, yeah, you work hard. So all you have to do is figure out the formula. Once you know it, it's done. It's a wrap. Shout out to Portia. I know a woman like that, very productive woman. Shout out to Portia, came in supporting the work. Appreciate you. And shout out to all the hustlers. You dig? Shout out to the hustlers. I also acknowledge Juan writes, supporting the business live. Peace of the saints. Appreciate you. Respect. Bull. Okay, great. I got Vernell paid. And if you guys need some deodorant, and I trust that you all do, especially if you're from certain countries that will remain nameless, you should go to thesassin.com, THESASN.com, click products, scroll on down, find the deodorant, bam, go ahead and buy it. Use the information in the description because Vernell's information is there for you to pay him via Venmo or PayPal. You don't pay me, you pay him, someone just like you who has learned product-based business. There you go. And I don't know how anyone could ever say that I don't give back. No one ever says that, but they could never. They could never, darling. It would be ridiculous. It'd be utterly ridiculous. Pish posh, puppycock. Shout out to Jaden, by the way, who donated to the training center. And the neat thing about the way that we handle our contributions to the training center, say versus like a Dr. Umar, no one knows how much Dr. Umar has raised because he's raised it on various platforms. He's raised it over a 15-year period, so no one actually has a sense of what he has raised. With the training center, all of the money is tracked publicly, so you can see the exact amount raised, which means that when it's time to spend the money on the training center, you can say, okay, well, did he do what he said he was going to do? And it'll be very clear. And that's the importance. And I tell all of you guys as saints, we need to be hyper transparent in our business dealings, honest, detail oriented, and operate in writing, the written word. And you'll never have an issue. Shout out to Kamal. Shout out to Sass in Europe. He writes, where's the super chat button? You haven't been here in a while, my good brother. The super chat button is gone. It's gone because Google has demonetized me for speaking on behalf of the Palestinians, the children and the women who are suffering. And so specifically for that, they demonetize me. And often I'm not able to post on my channel. And of course, in addition to that, they've shadow banned me. My monetization will never return. And so I've made a great sacrifice. And I'm encouraging people to make an exodus with me to Twitch. And here is the Twitch information at the bottom of the screen. So that is why that is the case. Thank you for asking. Anyways, shout out to Patrick. He writes, tuition, living in NYC. Do not let fear be your God. Has been in my head constantly since these last few weeks. Getting Boss University has been game changing for me. Thank you for all that you do. I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. And, really thank you for giving a testimony for all the people listening who might need some life change. They might need some inspiration. They might need some reassurance and some skills. And so, Patrick, I thank you for taking out your time to send a couple bucks to let other people know about something that may be beneficial to them. And congrats. In NYC, as they say, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And shout out to Arthur, because Arthur's in NYC as well. And I encourage you guys, if you haven't joined and became a member, do so. Go through new member orientation on the first of the month. And then meet up with your section because Arthur's over there. He's doing fantastically well financially. I'm really proud of him. He put $10,000 onto the training center as soon as we dropped the GoFundMe, $10,000 straight away. That lets you know that he's balling. That's what it is. He's balling. You don't do that if you're not balling, straight up. So those are the kind of guys you want to be under their wing in NYC. So shout out to Arthur. He live a real boss dog. Shout out to Shia supporting the work. Writes, I appreciate the knowledge as always. Peace of the saints. And Shia just came in recently as well. And shout out to all the saints I've had the privilege of meeting and living life with. We have a really remarkable movement here. Most of you guys, I know your names, I know your faces. In some cases, I know your father, I know your mother, I know your sisters, I've seen your children. It's a beautiful thing. Shout out to the saint who came in via Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin information is in the description of the video. Okay, I'm just going to email Vernell to confirm that he has been paid. And also, I would encourage you guys, especially when you're dealing with the saints, as I said, make sure your business dealings are always upright, honest, detailed, transparent, and written. And you pay your bills quickly. Pay what you owe. Pay your bills quickly. Do not have lingering balances. It's just not the right thing to do. It creates a bad taste in people's mouth. It makes people question your integrity. I mean, sometimes you may have forgotten, but the other person might think you're trying to cheat them or run off with their money. And so it's just not appropriate. If you have a debt, you pay it very quickly. If for some reason you cannot pay it, you engage a conversation immediately and you explain, hey, this is my situation. Excuse me. Let's make a plan, to get this taken care of. In fact, I have an invoice that I have to send out to someone right now. And I'm going to do it right now. And the reason I'm going to do it right now, because as I tell you guys, there's no better time than the present. By the way, send in your comments, questions as we, I don't know, I got a number of notes here. I don't want to wind down, but it can be done. Send in your comments, questions. And if you are a member, you can use the link in our Discord, which is member only, and you can come on and ask your question. Yes, and one thing I really want to encourage you guys as well is even when you're dealing with friends and family, still take a business approach to things. The worst feeling a human being can have is the feeling of being used. So as best you can, make sure that you pay what you owe. Make sure that you're compensating people. Make sure that you're creating a balance. I mean, there's one person in particular that did me a great favor when I was in the Middle East. And there was a boxing match coming up in Saudi, and I wanted to surprise him and get tickets. And then the boxing match didn't end up occurring. It's kind of annoying and strange. And so I feel like I have a debt to him. And so that's the kind of thing you don't want that feeling. You want to always pay what you owe. You want to pay early and often. It's much rather to have overpaid a friend, overpaid a loved one, than to not actually do what is appropriate to maintain a good relationship with that person. Shout out to Austin supporting the work. Came in via Venmo, writes peace to the saints. Appreciate you. May I also acknowledge Wayne came in, writes peace to the saints. Tuition. Shout out to Wayne. Wayne really be out here, man. Shout out to Wayne. And also to the saints who are executives and you guys share your great content in our Discord. We also got to see you start posting that on the community tabs on YouTube. I know I was banned and we couldn't post for a time. Now we can post, so while we can, go ahead and flood it. Let the folks know what we're really doing out here. Shout out to Kamal supporting the work, came in using the Stripe link. I appreciate you. Shout out to the saints in Europe. Can't wait to get back over there when I get a chance. Anyways, let's work. And I appreciate you, Kamal. And Kamal's one of the real ones. Kamal been with me a long time. Good brother. A little more game. Another thing that I advise you guys to do in your wealth journey is to always reassess your relationships. Some relationships aren't worth it. Like, for example, if you have an Amex, right? And there's different ones you can have. You're paying an annual fee for your Amex. It could be $700, could be $1,000, could be more. And you're paying this fee to Amex so that you can use their credit card, which if you have an Amex, you can use any credit card company, right? you have strong credit. So why are you using them? There may be a number of benefits that you like access to certain lounges, luxury lounges in airports and things like that. Or they have give backs. They'll give you you can get $50 credit at this or that store, $300 credit at this boutique. Now, the funny thing, my assistant, she has an Amex and she's always using the rollback money and all of these credits. I don't use any of that crap. I don't use any of it. It's not crap. It's actually good stuff. I just don't take it all the time. I don't care. And one reason I use something like Amex is because, well, one, I hate credit. I'm against credit. But there's certain places certain cities and countries, you cannot rent a car. You cannot get a hotel room without a credit card. They won't accept a debit card. They won't accept cash, no matter how much you have. You have to have a credit card. And so for that reason, I have an Amex. Further, Amex was supposed to have a really favorable dispute resolution favoring you, the customer. I mean, after all, you're paying them $1,000 a year. But in my last dispute, it was really unnecessarily involved. Like I damn near lost more money just disputing it, taking out time to dispute the charge. And so I have to ask myself, well, is this a good relationship? So you think about that with maybe your girlfriend or your side girl, but you don't think about that with your credit card company or fill in the blank company. And so I say, is this a good relationship? Am I benefiting? I'm paying them like a $700, $1,000 a year to maintain this card. And then the one time I have a dispute, and I've already spent like 40,000 with them this month, and I have one dispute on a petty amount of money, and they want to make me go through this process, is not a good relationship. It's done. So what did I just do? As a result, I just saved myself $700 or so a month, or excuse me, a year. And in addition to that, I saved myself a lot of time on disputes. Maybe the next company will do better with disputes. So you have to reassess those relationships. But that mentality is a mentality that you need to take into everything, which is to say, if this is not profiting me, why am I here? If I'm not benefiting, why am I here? What are we doing here? Come on now. And just to review some things that I really want you guys to remember and apply. Number one, be accurate about the problem or circumstance, whatever it is. So often we exaggerate what the problem or the challenge is, you see, or we think the problem is bigger than it really is. Like, for example, Patrick was referencing, he was saying, hey, Marquett, like, it's been many years since you've had your finances challenged in this particular way. True. But do I seem bothered? Not at all, because I've been responsible for even more years, which is to say that I'm psychologically in the correct position. I'm financially in the correct position to deal with challenge. And if you guys are not making the right moves when you're in the harvesting time, when the winter comes, you're going to starve. You see, if you have a hole in your roof, you need to fix that hole in your roof when it's sunny. Because if you are like, hey, well, there's a hole in the roof, but it's not raining, it's not snowing, so I don't need to fix it yet. And then you wait till it's raining and snowing. Well, now you can't fix it. You can't fix it while it's raining and snowing, or it's too late. Don't do that. Prepare in advance. Yes, when it's sunny, prepare for the winter. That's the challenges that most people have, is that they're not thinking long term. Also, and shout out to the people who may be wired for productivity, which probably is not any of us, but they've conditioned themselves. Shout out to them. But for those who are not, you need to be able to exercise discipline to get things done. You need to also be able to use different psychological tactics to increase productivity. And here's the thing, and it's ironic, when you need money the most, maybe you're depressed, or maybe you have like some major surgery, or you got to take care of your mom, or whatever the case is, you're down bad. That's when you really need to work. But here's the kicker. That's when you don't feel like working because you feel depressed, you feel down. Well, the bad news is that you still got to work. In fact, the worst news is that you have to probably work harder than you otherwise did. And so what I'm telling you is that you'd be wise to figure out how to stay disciplined. And people have said that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. I don't think that's quite right, but it's pretty damn close. And in as much as that's the case, that it's pretty damn close, you'd be wise to be highly selective about what you choose to do, and then be highly invested in whatever it is, which is to say, go hard. And here's the good news. Here's the great news. If you create a discipline to go hard as HE double toothpicks, and that's your preset, I'm going to go hard at fill in the blank. On the days you don't feel like working, on the days you don't feel like doing it, you're going to go through the motions because you've been trained and disciplined to at least go through the motions. And the lower level that you do it at is still going to be higher than everyone else. It's still going to be way better than everyone else because you've always held yourself to a high standard. For example, when I do boxing, sparring, we always do 4-minute rounds. A professional boxing round is 3 minutes. We always do 4 minutes. You're supposed to get 1 minute of break. We always do 30 seconds of break. So we always go much harder. So let's say on a day that I didn't feel the umph, instead of doing 4 minutes, I do 3 minutes, which is still a professional boxing round. Instead of doing 30-second break, I do a 1 minute break, which is twice as much, which is going to have me like, woo, woo. And that's the standard that the professional athlete is on. But I've always held a higher standard. You see what I'm saying? So it's even when you're not performing at your peak will be higher than everyone else's. Excuse me, that wasn't correct. When you're not performing at peak, your version of below average is still higher than everyone else's version of average. Your below average is above everyone else's average. I think you understand what I'm saying here. The standard that you hold yourself to matters. And guess what? It defines your life. This is about your life, buddy. It defines your life. How you choose to do things. Anyways, I think we're good here. Ladies and saints, it's been a pleasure to have this time to fellowship with you all. I'm going to continue on these business conversations. As you guys know, even though these are not the ones that are most attended, because most people, they want money, but they don't want to work. They want money, but they don't want to endure boredom. They want money, but they won't do what it takes. They just expect the money to manifest. The law of attraction. I'm attracting abundance. No, you're sitting on your butt playing video games, watching adult content. No. You don't really want this money. And that's why these are lower attendance. But I'm going to continue to do them because it will be a great benefit to you. And also, what am I hyper focused on right now? Business. You'll get the benefit of that. Ladies and saints, let us end this with our tuition, the creed of the assassin. Repeat after me with full conviction, knowing this is true of you. The creed of the assassin. I'm going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable. And I'm going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am. Until next time, peace to the saints.